Table number 2, you are going to be working on slab building. So instead of making coils, we're actually going to be using a rolling pin and some paint sticks to help roll out our clay. This is going to be a great technique for slab building, which some of the classes will be doing this year. Again, remember, we're going to practice all the clay techniques this year. That way every year we're learning them and we're not forgetting them, even though we are not using all of them for your project today. So for the next 12 minutes you will be doing some slab building with basic shape cutouts. So you'll need your 2 sticks that are taped together, and you'll need a rolling pin. You have your Play-Doh that is in the middle of the table. Again, just a handful is going to be more than enough for all 3 stations today. And again, the Play-Doh does dry out a lot faster than the clay, but I think it's something that we can deal with a lot easier. So if particularly you feel that it is drying out too much or getting too cracky, we can go ahead and just smash it into itself. I'll just be applying water to it at the end of the day to help it from drying out. So once you have your ball, what we're going to do is we want to start pushing the clay downward before we start rolling it out. It'll just make it easier in the long run. So just with a flat hand, go ahead and push once. Now, something you're going to want to do, especially when we start working with real clay, it's going to have more water in it. So you're going to want to make sure that you are picking up and flipping it so that it is not getting stuck to the paper, if we have paper down, or the table if nothing's down. And just give it another gentle push with your hand, pick it up and flip it before we start rolling it. So now we're dealing with more of a flat piece of Play-Doh or clay instead of working with something like a ball. With a rolling pin, you want to gently just go forward once, come backwards once. Okay, and just like we did with our hand, we want to go ahead, we want to pick it up, we want to flip it. If there's any extra Play-Doh, we can go ahead and push it back on. And again, you don't need to push hard, and you want to make sure that your hands are staying over the top of these 2 sticks. If you're pushing in the middle, it will make the clay too thin, which will be a problem when we want our clay slabs to start drying. So again, forward gently, backwards gently, pick it up, flip it, forwards gently, backwards gently, pick it up, flip it, forward gently, backward gently. Now you want to keep doing this until you notice that the Play-Doh or the clay is no longer expanding or getting bigger. That means that the clay or the Play-Doh is now the same height as the sticks, which is what we were looking for. At your table, we just have some real basic shapes, so you can cut one out and then you can try doing another one for the next 12 minutes. So I'm just going to keep it really simple. I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to do the circle one right away. So put the circle on top. If your Play-Doh is not big enough, you might just need to go ahead and grab a small handful, go ahead and make it into a ball, and then roll out your clay. Mine is big enough, so I'm going to go ahead and take this poker tool. Now, some of you will have this metal one, but because some of them were broken last year, you might just need to use the wooden one. So there's 2 things that we can use for cutting the Play-Doh today. If you have the metal ones, use the metal ones. If there are no metal ones in your case, go ahead and use your wooden ones. Again, today is just all about practice, so we're not worried about these shapes being perfect. We're going to smash them up at the end anyways. With your stencil on the Play-Doh, you want to hold it with your non-dominant hand And with your dominant hand, you just want to slowly go around your shape. And I find it easiest if we just do a small piece at a time rather than trying to go all the way around. So again, I did mine in 3 sections because that's what works best for me. When you're done, you can go ahead, you can take your shape off and you can just check and make sure that your slab is the same thickness as the stick and your shape is the same size as your template. When you're done, again, we can go ahead, we can ball it back up, we can pick up all the extra Play-Doh that's fallen off. We can go ahead and get it off the stick the best that we can. If it gets too stuck, you can go ahead and we can use our metal or our wooden tool and we can scrape it off. And we don't have to worry too much because the clay will not do that, just the Play-Doh, just because of what it's made out of. And once it's just a bunch of scraps, we can take our Play-Doh ball, we can go ahead and clean up. And now we're back to where we started. We can go ahead, repeat the process, pushing down, picking up, lifting, rolling it out. Go ahead and try to get all 3 shapes done if you can for the next 12 minutes. Then we'll hit the lights and you can move on to the next table. Good luck.